President Trump welcomed one of America's most loyal allies to the White House today, but the Iran nuclear deal could turn a friendly visit into a bitter debate.
French President Emmanuel Macron has a serious agenda in mind when he meets with President Trump tomorrow at that state dinner. KCAL 9 political reporter Dave Bryan joins us now with more on the issue at the top of his list tonight. Dave.
Absolutely. A lot of fun and games today between the two men. Tomorrow, things get serious. The deadline for President Trump to make a decision on whether to stay in or jump out of the Iran nuclear agreement is looming just a few weeks away. And the French president is determined to give it one more try to convince President Trump that dropping out of the agreement would be a big mistake. So the stakes are high on this Washington summit. President Trump and French President Emmanuel Macron returned to the White House Monday night after a day that included a helicopter tour of Washington, a walking tour of some of the sites, like the Lincoln Memorial, where Macron and his wife were mobbed by tourists and posed for selfies, followed by dinner at George Washington's home, Mount Vernon. But after the fun and games, President Trump and President Macron will have some serious and urgent issues to discuss. Macron will try to convince Trump not to pull U.S. troops out of Syria, and the toughest sell of the visit, pleading with him not to pull out of the Iran nuclear deal, which President Trump has threatened to do next month. As for Macron's chances of convincing the president,
I think that I feel very confident that we have the best negotiator at the table.
Macron and opponents of the U.S. pullout argue that would allow Iran to resume its pursuit of nuclear weapons. But some senators believe President Trump is determined to back out of the agreement.
I do think he will move away from the agreement on May 12th.
That's the deadline for rejecting the Iran agreement. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif says if the U.S. walks away from the agreement, Iran will follow suit.
If the benefits of the deal for Iran start to diminish, then there is no reason for Iran to remain in the deal.
For nuclear, what do you have as a better option? I don't see it.
As for convincing President Trump, Macron says they have a lot in common, and that will help.
Both of us are probably the maverick of the systems.
Now, Macron will make his argument on the Iran nuclear agreement at a meeting with President Trump tomorrow. The day will be capped off with President Trump's first state dinner to mark the visit. On Wednesday, Macron will address a joint session of Congress before he and France's First Lady, Brigitte Macron, head home to Paris. Jeff, Lena, back to you.